So welcome to the ChartMill Premarket watch list for Thursday, 15 September 2022. In this video I'm going to show you some predefined screens which I'm using on a daily basis to search for opportunities in the stock market. Let's have a look at the stock screener. So for those of you who've already watched the previous videos, this is kind of familiar. As you may know or not know, I'm using three different screens, a breakout, a retracement and a mean reversion screen to spot for some nice setups in the stock market. So let's start with the breakouts above the 52-week high for the US market. Two setups, Rhythm Pharmaceuticals and Bolero Corporation. Now the first one, it's a very nice and clean breakout, a wide range bullish bar with a close at the high of day. But it's too extended, it's more than 20%, it's 24% up. If you want to exclude these kind of setups, just add one filter, go to the performance tab and today performance. So the basic filter is at least 0% and you can add a filter by using this slider to the left. So at max, for example, 10%. So now you don't see any stocks which have gained more than 10% on a daily basis. So BOWL, it's a breakout, but I don't like this kind of candles because it has an upper tail, which is kind of a bearish signal. The volume is good, but a bearish signal, so it's a sign that sellers were able to push the price back down. So I'm not going to add it to my watch list. Breakout 52-week for the European market, none. And for the Canadian market, we have just one, but it's a nice one, heavy volume, and as you can see, a clean breakout above this level, 15.25 for example. We're going to add to the breakouts 52-week high. The next screen are the breakouts above the 10-day high. Let's start with the US market again. CTRA, nice volume, nice wide range bar. So adding this to the breakouts 10-day. LPLA. It's not really a breakout. It's still struggling with this overhead resistance, but I like the pattern because this is the daily resistance. It's a little bit of a sideways range just below the resistance level. There are some doji candles, so a battle is going on between sellers and buyers, and there is some volume before the actual breakout. So I'm definitely going to add this one to the watch list. First Horizon Corporation, no. Accelerate Energy, the first resistance level around 30.5, nice volume. So we're going to add it to the breakouts 10-day watch list. PWP, this is the pole and then it's kind of a bullish flag. So the breakout and now the retracement, clean wide range bar. So this could be a break. If this breaks above this level, the first resistance level is approximately 8.40, eventually a possible stop loss just below this swing low. We will add it to the breakout watch list. Let's take a look at the breakouts above the 10-day high for the European market. Zero results. And then for the Canadian market, this is actually the same as for the 52-week high. No. So now let's take a look at the retracement screens. Let's start with the retracement 10 and 20 SMA. So price below the 10 SMA and above the 20 SMA. No. For the US market, this is for the Canadian market. Could be a nice setup. It's definitely an uptrend. And now we have a slight retracement, volume is down. It's not ready as a setup, but we can add it to the watch list. So this retracement 1020 watch list. And then for the European market, zero results. The same retracement setup, but now we are using the 20 and the 50 SMA. For the US market, zero results. European market, 2. I'm going to change the view to 20 and 50 SMA. So this screen searches for retracements in kind of a little bit of a longer trend. Price has to be below 20 SMA, but still above the 50 SMA. And the 50 SMA should be rising, but I don't like any of these setups. And then for the Canadian market, zero results. And finally, the mean reversion screens. Actually, there is one retracement screen based on the force index. Quite some results, as you can see, 46. And I'm going to change the chart settings to... So this screen is using the force index, using 3 different periods, the force 100, 14 and 2. So 114 has to be green, and the force 2 also has to be green or just became green. In this way, it's possible to spot sometimes some very decent retracement setups. So let's have a look at the results. It's not a real retracement setup, it's a sideways range. Be Alive Solutions, it's retracing a little bit after a clean breakout. So this could be a nice one to keep an eye on if it breaks out again. So adding this one to the retracement force index watch list. As you can see, there are also ETFs. If you want to exclude these ETFs, that's possible. Go to the General tab, or you can select Common Stock only, and then you only have 41 results. Atmos Energy, Paycom Software. Again, a bullish flag, breakout, retracement. So if it breaks above this level, it could be a nice setup. So it's not ready yet. Same goes for IDEX Corporation, bullish flag, breakout, retracement, high volume. Not really ready, but I'm going to add it to the watch list so I can keep an eye on it. Regions Financial, that's a nice one. Also a bullish flag setup, breakout, retracement, and now clean break above this last candle on higher volume. Adding this one to the watch list. This one also. LifeStance Health Group. It's not ready, but this is a retracement after a very strong upward movement. This is the previous breakout level. Very low volume. No, I'm not going to withhold it. Some nasty bearish bars. I don't like to see those. CBSH. Adding this one to the watch list. Again, a breakout. Breakout, and now a retracement. That's it. And finally, our 2 mean reversion screens. The first one is the most strict one, Mersana Therapeutics. So changing this to my mean reversion chart settings. So first resistance, again, first resistance is 8.34. Mean reversion, adding this to the watch list. And then the second one, it's a little bit less strict. Because for this second screen filter, the only filter for the last candle, it has to close above the lower Bollinger Band, but the condition that it has to close above the high of the previous candle is excluded. So you have slightly more setups. Northrop Grumman NOC is a nice one. As you can see, 2 days ago, a bearish candle and a close below the lower Bollinger Band, and then yesterday it gapped up with a close on the high of day on higher volume. Next resistance is over here. The only problem, the only downside is that if you want to use a stop loss, the the swing low is here. So risk reward, not really a good setup, but it can be interesting for intraday traders, for day traders or scalpers. Once this level is broken on an intraday chart, it can be an interesting setup. So we will add this one to the mean reversion watch list. Now let's have a look at the individual stocks themselves. Go to the stock charts page and open one of the watch lists. Let's start with the breakout watch list above the 10-day high. Before I discuss the individual setups, this is by no means actual trading or investing advice. These videos are only intended to show you what ChartMill is capable of, the screening capabilities, and to learn you how you can quickly and efficiently use the screener and how you can benefit from it. There is also a ChartMill Academy video series available on our YouTube channel, which will learn you to quickly use ChartMill in the most efficient way. So be sure to visit our YouTube page and that specific playlist. I will put a link in the description below. So this is the breakout watch list above the 10-day high. First thing I'm going to do is change the view to 2 charts. In that way I have a weekly and a daily chart for one specific stock. And I'm going to change the secondary chart, which is this one, to my predefined weekly view. So this is the ChartMill trend indicator. Red is bearish, green is bullish, and gray is neutral. As you can see, for CTRA, Coterra Energy, the trend is up. There's a green ChartMill trend indicator. We have a clean breakout, so a setup is certainly possible with an entry just above this high of this candle, and then a stop loss. It depends on your trading style, just below this swing low, or a little bit more defensive at the 28 level. Next one, LPL Financial Holdings. This is my favorite one because as you can see, the weekly chart is also showing signs of a breakout. The long-term trend is up. Doji candles before the actual breakout, very narrow range, a higher volume. That's my favorite. EE, not much information on the weekly chart, but it is a breakout. There is overhead resistance. The first resistance, let me show you and use the annotation tool. So the first meaningful resistance is 30.80 approximately. Higher volume. It's a possible setup. The only downside is the stop loss and the risk reward ratio, as you can see. And then the last one, PWP. I'm going to exclude this one, and the reason is very simple. On the weekly chart, the trend is down, so the long-term trend is down, so this one is going out. Next, watch list, the breakouts above the 52-week high, which is kind of, there's only one, Mullen Group. And this is interesting. It's not visible on the daily chart, but it's visible on the weekly chart. There is some resistance at 16.90. So you should take that into account if you are considering a setup. I think it's a little bit too extended. Some very decent volume, but it's already extended. Maybe it's better to wait for retracement in this case. Then our retracement screens, retracement 10 to 20. As I've already said, it's not a setup at this time, but it could become one if there is, for example, a nice bullish candle. This could be definitely a setup, but at this time we are going to keep it in our watch list. SMA 20 and 50, there were no candidates, and then our retracement, there was only one retracement force index. That's the one. We have 5 results in here. BioLife Solutions, if this breaks out, as you can see on the weekly chart, the long-term trend turned positive. So it's a breakout screen to keep an eye on. It's not ready yet. Index Corporation, the same. It's kind of a bullish flag, breakout retracement. The weekly chart for Regions Financial Corporation. It's a little bit all over the place on the weekly chart. There is a setup if price goes above the high of this last candle, and the first resistance is 23.25. Short stop loss just below this swing low, or if you are more defensive, a bigger stop loss below 21. Arista Network. The ChartMill trend indicator is green, but I'm seeing lower highs and lower lows. So that's a no-go. So I'm going to remove it from the list. The weekly trend is kind of neutral for Commerce Bank shares. I'm also going to remove it. I don't like it. And then the mean reversion setups. Mersana Therapeutics, very severe long-term downtrend. It already turned positive. It's a sideways range on the weekly chart, and that's actually also what you can notice on the daily chart, the sideways range. It's a nice bullish bar, rather low volume, so it's one to keep an eye on if it can break above the 825 level. And then this last one, Northrop Grumman, NOC, high volume. It regained the lower bullish Bollinger Bands. So mean reversion chart settings. So it regained the lower Bollinger Bands. Long-term trend is positive. It seems like it's ready to break out. So you can handle this in 2 different ways. You can take a first test position if it goes above the high of this last candle with a stop loss just below 466, or you can wait until there is a clear breakout above this higher level at 496, which coincides with the breakout level on the weekly chart. So that's up to you, of course, which strategy you prefer. So this concludes our pre-market watch list for today's session. One last tip: if you have identified some setups yourself that you are considering entering a position, always check the next quarterly results. Otherwise you could be in for a very nasty surprise, and it's very simple to do so. Just in this blue bar, drop down menu and choose fundamental, and in that way you can check the last earnings and the next earnings. If you want to know more about the company itself, just use this profile icon, and it will lead you to another page where you can check a full technical analysis report, a fundamental analysis report, which gives you more details about profitability, valuation, the growth, health, and if applicable, the dividend rating. We have also the analyst ratings with the price targets and the up and down grades, the estimates, complete financials, so income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow, the ownership, the historical insider transactions, institutional and insider owners, and the free float, and finally the most important news items about the company. So in case you have found some very decent setups for yourself using your own screeners. Be sure to share them in the comments below with some settings. It's always nice for us to see how you guys are using our screeners, and maybe we can learn something from it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.